Hello, this is Terry Ann for Cookies and Clogs here, and this is my husband.
Hello, my name is Franz.
And we are here today to talk to you about PG&E's time of use, peak pricing, 4 to 9 p.m. everyday rate plan. As you know, I've been talking about this on the blog for a couple of months now. The first post was about how the plan would affect local residents, and then the second post was our family sharing some tips on how to make use of those off-peak hours. I also promised you an interview with one of the representatives from PG&E, and today is the day that we have the interview. So I'd like to introduce you to our guest, which is Jessica Chancellor. Jessica Chancellor, such an easy name, and I still can't say it today. So thank you so much, Jessica, for being with us today.
Oh, my pleasure. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, I am an avid dog lover. So I'll start with that. But professionally, I am a principal product manager specializing in project management with a focus on communications and change management. I have worked for PG&E for 12 years, and I'm currently leading community-based organization outreach efforts, but I'm also responsible for ensuring educational awareness on the topics that are related to rate options, assistance programs to help many, also information relating to contact information preferences for customers, and the current time of use transition that's underway. And then in parallel with that, I also serve as the lead community choice aggregator. Some people also know them as CCAs, relationship manager to ensure that all things are inclusive of CCAs as it relates to anything with electric rates. So that was a lot about me in a very brief summary. I'd be happy to share more if there are other questions.
Well, thank you so much. You have a lot on your plate. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. You know, this new rate plan is new for those in the San Francisco Bay Area. Well, new, it's been transitioning for a little while already. Excuse me, but some are still having some questions, or they may be a little unfamiliar with the rate plan and some of the specifics. So thank you so much for just taking the time and answering some of these questions that we have.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. So the very first question we have here is whether or not, can you please give us a brief summary of what this rate plan entails?
For this rate plan, time of use, rate plans just in general are somewhat new to the majority of customers. They're becoming more familiar with them, but for this specific rate plan, just as it sounds and along with its descriptive name, its peak pricing is from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. every day. We also call this rate plan TOUC, and so that's just more of a generic name for it. But just as with any time of use rate plan, it matters not only how much energy you use, but also the time of day in which you're using your energy. Because with a time of use rate plan, there are hours in each day where you're going to be charged a higher rate for using energy during that time. In this specific rate plan, it's 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. every day. But the great news about this is that all the other 19 hours of each day, customers will be getting charged a lower price for energy usage. So really, a time of use rate plan gives a customer the ability to have more control over their bill, because if they can shift even some of their usage outside of that peak window of 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., they usually can save.
Okay, well, that kind of leads us into the next question a little bit about why is this happening?
It's happening because California has really aggressive renewable energy goals. We have the highest demand on the electric grid during the hours of 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Hence the reason why we're trying to incentivize customers to use their energy outside of that window of time. Uh, Outside of that window of time is also when renewable resources are most available. So you might think of it in terms of solar. A lot of customers are starting to either have solar installed or maybe recently had solar installed. During the hours of like 12 to 4, the renewable resources from solar are most plentiful because the sun is high in the sky and it's delivering energy back to the grid.
That
So
makes
this allows us to ensure that we have a reliable grid for the future, as well as make sure that we're staying in line with those renewable resource energy goals that we have as a state entirely.
okay. I know sometimes we've used the app and it shows us whether or not we're using solar energy, and it does make us feel good, especially because we are more environmentally
Right.
conscious these days. So that's great to know.
Mm-hmm.
So then we had another question.
Yeah.
That's your
So,
turn.
so I was wondering. So, is it mandatory to switch to this rate plan?
No, it's not mandatory. Now, although there is a time of use transition currently underway right now, and there are customers who will be automatically transitioned to this rate plan if they take no action, they do have a choice. So if you leave here with anything today, remember that customers have a choice when it comes to what electric rate plan they choose for their household. But if customers don't take action and they are part of the transition, then they will be moved to the time of use C rate, which is the peak pricing, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., everyday rate plan. Customers will receive notification that they are being transitioned and how to take action. And then they'll also receive a welcome letter if, in fact, they are transitioned, so that they understand this is the rate plan that they're on and how best to use energy while being on this rate plan.
Oh, nice. Good. Very clear. Thank you.
Yeah. And now that brings up another question, obviously, which is, when is the transition happening? Is it going to be everyone all at once, or how is this rollout working?
We get this question a lot because PG&E's territory is fairly large. We can't do the transition all at once for all customers. But we do currently have the transition underway, and it is scheduled over the period of October of last year is when we started, all the way through to March of 2022. So it's based on the geographic location of each customer. I say that, and I have to caveat that, though, that if you are a solar customer, as it sounds like maybe you might be, then your transition date would be based on your true-up month. So at the end of your true-up period, solar customers have a month that they have all of their bills, essentially energy usage and credits compiled, where they figure out how much they owe at the end of that 12-month period. And that's when those customers would transition, is during their true-up month. So it could vary slightly if you are a solar customer.
Okay, all right, that's definitely good to know.
All right. So yeah, so we talked about the rate plan. What rate plans are currently available with PG&E?
That is a great question. I get that question all the time from customers. Because most customers don't even know that they have rate plan options, right? So you want to make sure that customers are choosing the rate plan that's best for them and their household. Because honestly, it's not a one size fits all approach. And we get that. And so for that reason, there are different rate plan options. We have a tiered rate plan, which is also known as E1. And that is the rate plan that most of our customers are currently on. What the tiered rate plan does, or how it works, is the more you use, the more you pay. It doesn't matter when you use your energy, but you do end up paying a higher rate the more energy that you use. And it doesn't put a lot of control back into your hands as a customer, as I was explaining with the time of use rate, because the other side of it is time of use rate plans is our second version of rate plans. We have a couple options to choose from with different peak windows. But if you use energy with a time of use rate plan in the off-peak periods, then you can have, that's a lower cost for customers than what the tiered rate plan offers. So you have a couple options to choose, and We do strongly encourage all customers to go online and run a personalized rate plan comparison. You can easily do it with 4 steps to figure out, based on your energy usage, what is the best rate plan for you. So if you go online today, check to make sure that you are on the best rate plan based on how you've been using your energy, or maybe you can make some changes and save money that way. If you have any difficulty with that, our representatives in the contact center would be happy to assist you. You can give us a call in the contact center and they'll run the analysis for you to figure out what is the best rate plan based on how you've been using your energy. And then lastly, we have electric vehicle and battery storage option rate plans. And just as it sounds, these are designed for customers who have an electric vehicle, or maybe they have battery storage. So there are a couple options out there, and we encourage customers to check their rate analysis a couple times a year, because as you can imagine with COVID, the way customers are using energy has varied over the past few years. What may have worked for you before might not be working for you, or may not be best for you in the next 6 months.
Right. Thank you so much for breaking that
Mhm.
down, because
Yeah.
you mentioned earlier that some are like, they just have no clue. They just go with whatever. And that's been some of the feedback that we've heard. We're like, there are different plans. We just are using whatever we have. So thank you so much for making that clear. Speaking of the community, one of the questions that came up was that if they found out the plan didn't work for them, you had mentioned that you can analyze and find out what fits your household or what might or might not work with those time slots. Can you change it back to what you had? And if so, how would you do that?
Yeah, good point. Because what I said before about COVID, some people have been working from home for the past year, and now some are going back to work. And what they used before over the past year may be looking entirely different than what they're going to have in the next, 6 months to a year. And for that reason, you may want to change what rate plan you're on. So best thing to do is to either go online and run that personalized rate analysis. And right there, it will tell you how much the estimated annual cost is for all of your eligible rate plan options.
Okay.
You can easily identify what that cost is, like what's financially best for you. And then you can, if you choose to change your rate plan, you can select that rate plan right then and there and enroll in the new rate plan to be effective on your next billing cycle. So it's super simple. If there are any questions or concerns, our contact center representatives are happy to assist with that process as well. And customers can change rate plans at any time. So they are automatically given at least one rate change a year. Residential customers are, but we are currently honoring 2 within a 12-month period as it is right now. So you have some options to try things out, and if it doesn't work for you, you can simply change back.
Okay, a lot of people don't like change, so knowing that they can have that extra little window will help them. And we have a slide that will show and an image that we'll put up so you can see exactly what you need to do, or the customers can see what they need to do if they find that they need to change back. Now, with so much happening and people's also financial and employment situations may have changed, some may be taking advantage of a discount, such as the carrier discount or any other discount on their bill. Will those still be able to be used on the time of use plan?
So with the transition, customers will still be able to keep their programs. That will not have any impact. But I do have to advise, there are some customers who are excluded from being part of the transition. And that's where medical baseline comes into play. If you are a customer who's currently on medical baseline, you will not be automatically transitioned to the time of use C rate, the peak pricing 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. everyday rate plan. Now, what I want to also mention, though, is that just because you're not automatically transitioned, it doesn't mean you can't still enroll in that rate plan. If you want to try out the rate plan, by all means, it would still likely be eligible to you, just as it is any other customer who is being transitioned. We're just not automatically enrolling you in the rate plan. One
So
other
to opt in to take advantage
correct.
of it.
Mm-hmm. They would still be eligible to enroll. It's just not going to happen to them automatically. But any program that a customer is currently enrolled in, if they are part of the transition, they will continue with those same program benefits. That's not going to change. So I think that was what your main question was, is there any disadvantage to programs by being automatically transitioned? And the answer is no. Those programs will remain the same.
Okay, yeah, great. Thank you very much for sharing that, especially because there are many who are still going through a tough time. So that transition, we wouldn't want that to be an extra hardship. So it's good to know that PG&E is keeping that in mind during this process.
So yeah, I had one question too. Like where we live, we get our rates through Peninsula Clean Energy. Will we still transition to this new plan?
Yes, Peninsula Clean Energy is one of our CCA partners that I work hand in hand with, and they've been a great partner to ensure a smooth, easy transition for our mutual customers for the transition. So even if you are a Peninsula Clean Energy customer, or maybe you're solely with PG&E, either way, you would still be part of the transition if, in fact, you're determined part of that population of customers, which means you have to have the E1 tiered rate plan. And then are some other requirements or qualifications to be considered as well.
Good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, because you saw it on one of our bills, right? That came in the mail. It was the other logo was right on there.
That's right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So one of those things where you actually take the time to look at it and you're like, what is this? So thank you so much for that, because based on the various counties throughout the San Francisco Bay Area, may have different companies they're using with that. So
yes.
Thank you so much, Jessica. We really appreciate the time you've given us today and giving all those great answers for these things that we were just kind of wondering about. So thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I gave you a lot of information that will be hard probably for most people to remember, to be honest. I would just, encourage customers to go online to pge.com/TOU transition. That is a great resource for customers to understand more about the transition and also what rate options are available to them. And then lastly, there's a lot of programs available to assist customers, and online has a lot of that great information as well. As I said before, pge.com/COVID-19 has some of those great resources noted. We have programs for limited income. We have programs for customers who might have medical needs. And then we have a program, as I stated before, a arrearage management plan. That helps customers to become solvent, to get caught up on any past due balances. Essentially, it's a debt forgiveness program. So it's amazing. It's semi-new, only been around for a few months now. And customers are, no doubtedly enjoying the benefits of that. You're paying your current charges, you get some of your debt waived for free. So up to $8,000. So it's amazing.
Wow, what a program. It's good to know. Yeah. Well, again, I just want to thank everybody for joining us today, watching the video and the interview that we had, and thank everyone from the PG&E team who also are helping to sponsor and support this video so that we could share this information with all of those that are part of this new time of use. Oh, I have to read this. Time of use peak pricing 4 to 9 p.m. everyday rate plan. So no matter how many times I practiced it over the past few months, still have to read it. But again, we said just for short, the TOU, right? The
yes.
TOU, time of use rate plan. I like that. So again, thank you so much. And if you have more questions, leave it in the comment area, send me a message, ask a question on any social media channel, and I'll make sure to give you all of the links that Jessica just mentioned. So thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.